Darren, welcome to the Sports Agents. I had another former England Test bowler, Stephen Finn, say to me last night that before the series started, he thought Adelaide was England's best chance of winning a Test. So I hope he's right. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think Adelaide and Melbourne, I thought those are the two Test matches where I thought England had a better chance. The first Test, to catch Australia cold, they used to play at, they prefer to play Brisbane, the first Test match. So to play at Perth, if our preparation would have been better, I think we might have been in with a better chance against Australia's second team. Let's be straight here. Australia got none of their first really except start line bowling lineup. They made changes at the top of the order. They weren't quite sure about the middle order, who was going to bat where. So we had a great opportunity at the start of this series in the first two Test matches to be at the top. But now we find ourselves in a ridiculous position where we're 2-0 down in 6 days cricket, and now Adelaide comes around after a 7-day bender in Noosa. So it's going to be interesting what happens.
Yeah, before, there's a couple of things to get into there, but I think I might pick up with the 7-day bender, actually, because every time I've listened in to Ellie Oldroyd, who's on 5 Live all the time, giving updates, and the questions about Noosa have been given. One, that it's a very small place and everybody can see what you're up to. So you've got no kind of way of hiding from the media. And two, what you just alluded to there, what should they have done between these tests, do you think?
Well, I think it was, if the preparation would have been spot on, I don't think there would have been any problem from anybody about England having a break mid-series. When I played, we could have done with that, you know, we could have done with a little break, but we had 4 warm-up games, 4 warm-up matches. We were physically tired. We need a reset. But I think if they went there in a small area with everything that had gone on and losing 2 matches in 6 days, what did they think was going to happen? I think it turned into a circus more than... I don't think it was relaxing. If everybody's different, right, within a sporting environment, and you look around the dressing room and everybody's different, so there'd be some of those people in that dressing room would have hated the last 7 days, would have hated it. They would have stayed in their room, not wanted to go anywhere, except for the forced on the beach, let's have a game of kick-ups, or swim in the cold water. There would have been certain individuals where they just wanted to retreat to their room, watch Netflix or whatever they're going to watch, and just stay away from all that palaver. Then you've seen the other guys who out in the bars quite happily drinking beers and listening to music. But there were no freedom because there was media wherever they went. And did it end up being a relaxing 7 days? Well, we'll soon find out. We'll soon find out in this Test match if it worked or not. If we lose this one, I mean, it's disaster zone. I won't want to be there for the next 3 weeks if they do lose this one.
Do you think they're saying the right things at the moment? Do you think from the moment they lost the second Test, their tone has changed? Stokes, McCullum, Harry Brook, even in the last 24, 48 hours, I've got to rein it in, I've got out some horrible shots. Do you think they're starting to say what we want to hear? Do they believe it themselves? Are they changing their tone in camp? It's difficult to tell, isn't it?
Well, they've got a very experienced media liaison, and he's very, very good. And I felt for him, actually, when McCullum came out with, well, we're just going to have a beer, sit around and chat about, we probably overtrained. I mean, I felt for him because he's so good at his job. He's the best in the business, and he was basically thrown under the bus by his coach. I think the messaging definitely has been there for everyone to please everyone. There's got to be slight differences. We all wanted to see the differences before the first Test. We didn't want to see Harry Brook trying to sweep Mitchell Starc or whatever it is. Harry Brook is such a talented individual. We know that. He's a brilliant player. I've managed him. I've managed Joe Root, at Yorkshire, and I've seen the talent there. But that talent, he never played like that. When he was scoring 800 runs in 5 matches for Yorkshire to get into this England side, he played positively, but he played proper cricket shots, like Joe does. And I think there's got to be a reining in. And I'd like to think he listens to someone like Joe, who's the best player in the world at this moment in time. And hopefully we'll see a difference. Brendan McCullum's always going to be what Brendan is, right? It is a brand for him. It is Brand McCullum. I know he says he doesn't like Bazball. I actually think he loves it because we're talking about him as a coach non-stop, and he walks into any job in franchise cricket around the world. So it's just intelligence. I think we all want England to win. I'm desperate for England to win. I'm such an England supporter, but I'm all for positive cricket. I'm all for smacking the ball to all parts. I'm all for trying to bowl them out and be as aggressive as possible. But in moments of the game where it can go that way or that way, you've got to use your brain. Australia have done that. England haven't. That's why we're losing.
And that it seems to be one of the frustrating factors so far from an England perspective, the fans watching on, is that the decision-making in managing these tests doesn't appear to have been very wise. They've kind of coming out and saying as much as you alluded to there in the press in the last few days, and left people feeling unsatisfied with that, because then you start to think, well, what was the last 4 years all about? If this isn't an Olympic cycle and you're building to something, what have you actually built?
Well, exactly. I think that's one of the questions I've always said. And I think coming into this series, love watching it, love watching Bazball when it works and it's successful. But there's been too many times, what is it, the last 30 games, won 14, lost 14. I mean, has it been a success? And I think it was all down to India and Australia series. India, with 4 of their best players missing, we should have won that series. We ended up being we weren't the best team in that series, and we somehow got a draw out of it. Now, this one become then vitally important, an Ashes series, for it to be close. At this moment in time, it's not close. And if we carry on the way we are, the last 3 or 4 years has been an absolute waste, because whoever comes in now is going to try and rebuild it again, because they've got rid of a lot of the coaches within the side, a lot of coaches within. He's brought in his close friendship circle. It's become like a football management style event. And whoever takes over is going to have if this carries on the way it is, I still think it could change. But if it carries on the way it is and the players have kind of given into the old belief in the system, I think there's going to be wholesale changes. The only one that stays for me would be the skipper.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, Darren? And you will know from your time as a cricketer, and you will also know from your time as a coach as well, and from loving other sports and watching other sports.
Yeah.
That one philosophy doesn't work through many years, and even Pep Guardiola changes what Manchester City do every couple of years. And England probably needed the mentality of McCullum and Stokes when they took over to just take the pressure off and freedom and whatever it may be. But that doesn't mean that it has to stay that way 2 years on, 4 years on, and that you have to be more nuanced than that. As a coach, would you agree?
Yeah, I think freedom and belief you're going to play every game, that continuity is such a big word when you're a director of cricket or whether you are a coach. And I continue to do that. I'm a coach, I broadcast, and obviously I manage as well. I like to do all of them because I like to experience what it's like as a coach. I like to experience what it's like then when you're managing the coach. And it's helped me become a better leader by doing those 2 big roles, And I think it was what England needed, definitely. I think there was a fear of playing aggressive cricket. And I think McCullum and Stokes coming in, I think it's mainly a McCullum thing. And it coming in at the right time where England, they're all millionaires now. You've got to remember this. These guys are not they're earning football wages.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, people don't realise that. I'm just watching the IPL auction today. And it's like mind-blowing. I'm fixed to it because some of the figures that get thrown around, I think Cameron Green today, who's going to be playing in the Test matches, has gone for what, £2 million? £2 million. £2 million for 12 weeks cricket. I mean,
by the way, Darren, that was going slightly off topic, but that's someone who has the odd injury problem.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not
2
like
million, mate.
Yeah.
2 million.
So on that then, do you think it's as important for them to win an Ashes series down under as it was for you in your prime to try and go down there and take victory. If there are so many, we talk about this quite a lot, don't we, chappers? Every time we do a deep dive into cricket, the crowded landscape, the different teams and kind of ways they have to manage their year. Money's better than it's ever been. Demands on their time. They haven't got a winning mentality if you're only winning 50% of your last 30 tests. Is it as important?
I'd like to think it's important, but we all know when you start earning a lot more money and you become popular, it makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it? And sometimes you need someone to give you a kick now and again and just let you know, but look, money's great, but remember, you've got to keep it going. But if you went into the finances now at cricket, some of the things we've seen over just like the IPL auction going on now, the figures thrown around there is just out of this world. The PSL in Pakistan now is up their game financially. Yeah. You've seen the players out now in Dubai. The big players there are earning $500,000 for what, 3 weeks' work? The 100 now is being bought out by the Indian owners. Harry Brooks just gone for £470,000 for 3 weeks' work in the UK. His England contract on top. These guys are earning 4, 5, 6 million a year. Yeah. And you've got to keep that hunger there for them. I always still believe, what do you want? I might be a little bit old school, but do you want to be remembered for your test cricket? Not T20, not ODI. I love playing in them and they were fantastic. The crowd, it's a different atmosphere. It almost let the handbrake off. But as an England great, you want to be remembered for your test match performances. And Ben Stokes could easily overtake both of them as the greatest cricketer we've ever had, right? Could easily do that. But he needs his team to go with him. Because Beefy was up there on his own, won Ashes series, and Ben Stokes has done it too. But he's got an opportunity as a leader here to drag his team over the line and take them back from 2-0 down to achieve something that's not only been done once in 150 years of cricket, by the way. Don Bradman, 36-37. Yeah. And Ben Stokes will be thinking that as well, his legacy. Can he do it? I still believe he can, because he's a great leader. But he needs his team to rein it in a little bit.
But also rein it in. But also, they owe him a little bit here, don't they? I mean, he is always, along with Root, England's go-to man. Matt Pryor was very critical of England in the field in Brisbane on energy, getting a bowler's cap for them, just a little tap, and so on. And he said something really interesting to me, which is a small thing, but he said in 2010, 2011. They went into that series when they won in Australia, and as a group, they had a pact that no bowler would ever have to go more than 10 yards to go and get their cap from the umpire. And if they were more than 10 yards away, a fielder would go and get that cap and take it to them to show that they were all in this together. And to reduce the workload on the bowler. Otherwise, that extra 20 yards every time to go and get your cap actually builds up over the course of a day in the field in a test match. And I thought, wow, it's a really small thing, isn't it, Darren? But it's a really interesting insight into team dynamic. And his argument was, this England team in the field looks so flat half the time. They owe Stokes that kind of team ethic and energy.
Is there a belief, what I will ask is, but there's a belief from Ben Stokes, without a doubt. There's a belief from Brendan McCullum, without a doubt. That those two are positive energy. They believe they can do anything, right? And I know them as cricketers. I played against Brendan. I've played against Stokes as well, believe it or not. I might be 55 now, but I actually played against Stokes. But when I look at this young bowling attack, there's no Anderson in there now. There's no Broad in there. There's no Wokes. Those three guys have been around a long time. We're relying, the most capped bowler we've got in our side is Bashir. And they're not playing him in this next test. He's the most capped. It's remarkable when you think about it.
It is.
And so when it gets tough, and you're in Australia, which is arguably the toughest place to go as an England cricketer, I think they've been found wanting at the moment. And this mental reset they probably did have in Noosa as well. There would have been hopefully some good stuff that's gone on there. A lot of sit round in a room and talk about where they've got to improve, and that's where Harry Brooks' message comes from. But he knows he's got to rein it in certain areas.
Are they, as a group, do you think, honest enough with each other then that they would have those frank conversations and they can come to a place where they can all put their hand up where they've been found short and wanting? Is there
enough seniority within that team to stand up and talk? Right, you've got to be a brave man to stand up and talk against Stokes and McCullum, right? Look at they're both powerful individuals. Joe Root would have a voice, but have you met Joe Root? He's the quietest, nicest man you'll ever meet. He's such a wonderful person, and he'll say stuff and it'll be measured and it'll be softly spoken. But someone like, I can assure you now, Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad would definitely, Jimmy Anderson would moan. Stuart would be a bit more of a stronger personality. But they got their message across and people follow certain individuals' seniority. I just think there's a lot of players in that squad who have all played similar number of caps, who are kind of comfortable with their position because they've never been dropped, which is a good thing to have, It's good to be continuity in selection, but you've got to have the performances to back it up. And I don't think we've got that from a lot of our players. There's a lot of average performance that's been rewarded for many years. And that's because the management above have closed the bubble and made it a bubble, and county cricket has become irrelevant on selection. It doesn't matter how good you are in county cricket. You're getting picked because you can bowl at 84 miles an hour plus, or you can smash the ball to all parts. That's what you're getting picked for.
Off the top of my head, who was when bowlers are left out like Gus Atkinson for this test, and it's more talked about rotation with the batters. Who was the last England batsman to actually be dropped? Not like because of it, not be injured and come out. And do you know what? And it just came into my head then. I was thinking, who was the last one to be dropped? And would it have been Rory Burns, Darren?
Well, that's a long time. That's the last time we thought. There has been definitely a period of time where they've been consistent in their selection. It would have been another opener, wouldn't it, before Duckett came in? I'm just trying to think offhand, but you're right.
The point in that is
Bairstow.
Okay, yeah.
Bairstow, but they went down with him. Johnny Bairstow has been everywhere. Johnny's batted 1 to 7. Sometimes he's keeping, sometimes he's batting.
Yeah.
And they decided to go down the Jamie Smith route, which actually, look, I love Johnny Bairstow. I think he's a top cricketer and has been for many years. And he's very suited to this brand of cricket. But I can also see why they went for Smith as well. A very, very talented young player, looking to the future a little bit. And they give him that opportunity to get games in before this Ashes series. And he was good against India. But it's a different level now. He's playing in Australia, away from home, against a very, very good bowling attack. And now Cummins has come back and Lyon. It's going to be even harder. So they're now nearly at their full strength. They're still not at full strength, but they're nearly at their full strength now. So England have to raise the bar now.
Darren,
they have to raise the bar.
At the very beginning of this, when we were just getting set up, and I said something about, because you're wearing your England top there, I said something about you being excited. You said, I don't know about excited. And I thought, I wonder where his emotions are today. And I can hear it. Your emotions seem to be frustration, veering onto a little bit of anger, maybe, at how things have been able to get to the...
Well, that's my personality to a T.
Frustration and anger, brilliant. True Yorkshireman. Is there any room for optimism in this jigsaw of emotions today?
Yeah, or else I wouldn't have this on. I will always support England, football, cricket, whatever sport. I'm a passionate person. I believe that in Ben Stokes we've got a leader who can get the best out of his team. I hope the messaging is a little bit less of those moments. Look, Australia have played this brand of cricket for 25 years. England didn't invent this brand of cricket, please. But Australia have been doing this since I made my debut in the early 90s, But what they are good at, they get in a winning position, they make sure they win the game. We get into winning positions and somehow we lose it. Think back to the Oval. Last year, India. We walk in the game, 7 wickets in hand. Harry Brooks over at 100. he plays a silly shot, we lose 7 wickets for 20 runs and we lose the match. You know, that's what we can do. Australia don't do that. Australia don't do that. So I still have faith in the players we have got. I think the toss of the coin is going to be vital in Adelaide. The weather can be really, really hot. And as a bowler, with our bowling unit, I think that is our weakness at the moment. I hate saying it, but the confidence is going to be low. Archer...
By the way, this optimism is waning fast. I think we should...
No, it is. It is that Ben Stokes is... I keep saying it, but he's so good with batting hand, as a fielder, as a leader, and as a bowler. Would it surprise me if he got 100 with a bat this Test match and got 5 for with a ball? No, not at all, because he can do that. I just don't know where the other wickets are going to come from. I really don't. And we're playing our second spinner.
So shall we say we'll stay optimistic, Darren, and it'll be 2-2 going into Sydney, and we'll get you back on to talk about the decider and reminisce about the hat-trick back in 99.
Absolutely. If that happens, I mean, it is game on, and the old landscape changes, doesn't it? You know how quick sport changes quickly, right?
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes it's hard to break that momentum. If we break it and get a result, the pressure then goes back on Australia, right? And so it's all about this game. If we lose this one, I mean, the wheels are going to well and truly come off. I mean, the media are going to have a field day.
We're just doing post-mortems for the next few weeks, aren't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely. If we win it, look, it gives them a bit of leeway, and going on to Melbourne, the Boxing Day Test, which is an unbelievable experience for anybody, no matter who you are, to turn up Boxing Day, 100,000 people, as a cricketer, when you walk out there, it's so special.
You want something on it, though. It'd be more special if there's something on it, won't it? So,
well, there'll be changes if we lose this one, so it will be them planning for the future. Well, we haven't got that many changes to bring in, have we? We've only got Bethel would come in. Bashir then would get a game again, and then Potts would probably come in as well. So, but let's hope we win in Adelaide and all set for Melbourne.
Lovely to see you, Darren.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
The Sports Agents
With Gabby Logan and Mark Chapman.